I walking down that lonesome lane, hung down my head and cried.
Hey VC, it's Danny, back again. I had the great pleasure this weekend of meeting up with Andrew from Tales from the Crate. If you've been watching for a while, every 6 months or so, we try to get together and we do kind of these mega digs where we start at Atomic Records in Burbank, go to Freak Beat in Sherman Oaks, then we go to Amoeba Music in Hollywood, and we just kind of go crazy and buy as many records as we can find. And it's always a treat. It's always a pleasure to hang out with Andrew. Um, it's just I consider him a good friend at this point, and I really just enjoy getting to spend time with him, getting to talk to him about not just music but life and family and fatherhood and kind of all of it. It's always a pleasure. It absolutely was this weekend. So figured I'd hop on here and show you guys the records I picked up. I have a pretty sizable haul, so I'm going to try to move relatively quickly. And found tons of great music. So let's get into it. I'm going backwards here. Normally I would start at Atomic and then work my way to Amoeba like we do on the dig. But the stuff I found at Atomic today, Saturday, was so incredible that I'm going backwards from Amoeba to Atomic. Just have to save the best for last. So first up, one of my cheapest grabs of the day, and one I'm really happy to find, Loudon Wainwright III, Therapy. I've been collecting Loudon's records for a while, and I haven't actually seen this one before, I don't think, or if I have, maybe once. It doesn't turn up very often. When did this come out? I want to say 89. On Silvertone Records. I already knew that Harry's Wall and Therapy were fantastic songs. This whole record is great. Richard Thompson guests on here, but generally this just has really phenomenal playing, really clean, beautiful production, and Loudon's signature, hilarious, poignant, touching songwriting. I if you like Loudon Wainwright, I can't recommend this highly enough. It's definitely a little more produced than his earlier stuff. It's kind of halfway to his later sound, which I categorize as being full of incredible studio musicians and high production quality. But the great thing about Loudon is, kind of like Ry Cooder, the production never overpowers the music. It's music first, always. Anyway, I really was enjoying playing that one, so really happy I picked it up, and for like $2. There's another one. This is a kind of a blind buy, sight unseen, Sessile Barfield, South Georgia Blues. This is out on Mississippi Records, a label I've talked about a few times on here. And I hadn't really heard of this release, but I've never picked up anything on Mississippi that I was disappointed with. So I figured it was safe enough. I want to say these are field recordings, but I'm not 100% sure. And I think kind of later period field recordings, like after Lomax had gone out and done his stuff, maybe in the 60s or 70s. Kind of return other George Mitchell, I think, is the guy who went out to see if he could find any remaining bluesmen to record. So another of my longtime collections, I guess, is my Bonnie Prince Billy collection, which honestly I talk about. It probably makes it sound big. It's pretty small relatively, and his catalog is huge. But that's kind of the fun for me. I still haven't picked up anything by Bonnie Prince Billy that I haven't really enjoyed. So I'm going for a completist, and I imagine it will take me decades, but it's a fun trip to be on. The Marquis de Tren and Bonnie Billy. This is called Solemns. It's 3 kind of dirge like. I mean, Solemns is a an appropriate name. Psalm 28, Psalm 10, Psalm 119, and then it's a pun on Psalms, I'm sure. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's dark. 3 songs on one side, kind of this outsider art, creepy, lots of eye imagery, etching on the other side, almost certainly done by the same artist. Mick Turner. Oh, so Mick Turner, who's on here, the Marquis de Tren, who I'm sure is from something, and I'm just not familiar with him. Also did the artwork. But always happy to pick those up. And the 12-inch EPs and singles, that stuff doesn't turn up very often, so I'm always happy to find that. Another one, Bonnie Prince Billy, here is Beware, his 2009 album, which for some reason I had kind of avoided, not for some reason. When this came out, one of my record collecting buddies at the time was a much bigger Bonnie Prince Billy fan than I am. And he was not happy with this. He'd been listening since Palace Music since the 90s. And he thought this was... I don't remember the exact critique, that he was parodying himself or repeating himself, or just that he thought the music wasn't as inspired. At the time, I was like, well, he knows more than me, so I'll listen to him. Now, I think being able to see the fullness of Will Oldham's career... I think he's an incredibly consistent musician. I don't think he's ever sold out. I think he's just been making fantastic music that suits his state of mind for years. And I'm so far still interested in all of it. I was really enjoying playing this. And I'm excited to get to know more of it. It does seem like, just the cover art, the kind of apocalyptic image of an erupting volcano, and Death Final, beware your only friend, you can't hurt me now, you don't love me, you are lost, I don't belong to anyone, I am goodbye. He's in a dark place here. It's not a happy record, but that's okay. That's kind of where I clued into Bonnie Prince Billy with Master and Everyone. So somewhat connected to Bonnie Prince Billy is Alistair Roberts. And this is Roberts, McDermott, and Tartine de Clow's O Cube. And the Cube is a theater in Bristol. And this was recorded live there. There's a few of these musicians are French musicians, and I think they're tackling French folk music here. Along with there's an Anne Briggs cover. There's some original... songs by Alistair. I haven't really dove into this. I sampled it when it first came out. I was holding off purchasing it because having a copy shipped to me from Europe was going to be expensive, and that's where this was pressed, and that's where this exists. So I was thrilled to find this at Amoeba. If anybody knows who's responsible for Amoeba always having a little bit of Alistair Roberts in the RO bin, thank them for me. I love it. It means a lot. It's got this great artwork on here, by Gwenola Carrere, who I'm pretty sure I follow on Instagram just as an artist, almost positive. But as with everything Alistair puts out, it's rich. It's just... nothing is senseless, nothing is random, everything is responding to some kind of history or some other music or a poem or an idea, and it just makes for an incredibly rich listening experience, and really, really thrilled to find this. Did not think I was going to find it. Speaking of things I didn't think I was going to find, at some point Andrew and I were walking along the backside of Amoeba, kind of past the punk section, over past the books and over into hip-hop, soul, and international and instrumental and electronic. And as we're walking past, I saw Bikini Kill's first record. It was a reissue, and I remembered that I had once found an original here at Amoeba, and that I should loop back around and check the punk section. And then when I did, I ended up finding Bikini Kill second. Yeah. Kill Rock Stars. This is a split with Huggy Bear, Our Troubled Youth. This is an original pressing. And yeah, I was thrilled to find it. Early 90s Riot Girl. It's just great stuff. I mean, it's angry and it's raw, and the recording's not amazing, but the performances are incredible. And I haven't even gotten to Huggy Bear yet, but I'm stoked to have that too. And I have a daughter now, so I have plenty of female musicians, but the better part of it anyway is pretty, beautiful music. And I want her to have access to angry, righteous, political music as well, Anyway, yeah, happy to have this. And I think this is my last Amoeba grab here. Cracked the seal on it, but I haven't spun this yet. This is Joe Henderson, The Elements, with Alice Coltrane, Charlie Hayden, Kenneth Nash, and Michael White. This is a reissue, originally put out on Milestone. It's pressed at QRP, lacquer's cut by Kevin Gray. Andrew picked this up on our last big dig, and I've been kind of thinking about it ever since. And I've really gotten into Joe Henderson since then. I think he may just be my favorite jazz musician, full stop. He's just so good. So yeah, I'm really, really, really excited to get this. And it's nice, it's nice when you can't find an original, because these are not only hard to find, but just too expensive when you do. When you can get the tip-on jacket and great pressing from somewhere like QRP or RTI or Pelas, and just a really satisfying package, and really, really happy to have this one. So thanks, Andrew, for the tip on this. And even though it took me 6 months, I'm glad to have finally picked up on it. I forgot to show this when I first filmed the video this morning, because my wife, it's for her, and she had already taken it away to her section of the record collection. But it is the best of REM in time, 1988 to 2003. This is REM's greatest hits compilation, which when it first came out in the early 2000s, 2003 I guess, it was only pressed in Europe, and so this is more or less its first time on vinyl in America anyway. So when this came out and Amoeba posted it on their Instagram, my wife tagged me. This was a big record for her. This is how she got to know REM, and she listened to this a lot. So I figure if I'm going to be out buying records all day, I might as well bring one home for her. So best of REM, 1998 to 2003, in time. Happy to snag this. Still haven't popped the seal, but gonna be fun to listen to this with her. So on with the rest of the video. Yeah, so that was our trip to Amoeba, excuse me. We'd gotten some lunch just before then, kind of hung out, enjoyed ourselves, had a good conversation, had a beer or so. And before that, we had gone to Freak Beat. And there was no shortage of great stuff there. Sticking with the jazz tip, I guess. I picked this up. Miles Davis, Blue Moods. This is an OJC. Charles Mingus is on here, Elvin Jones, Teddy Charles on vibes, Britt Woodman on trombone, Nature Boy, Alone Together, There's No You, and Easy Living. I'll be honest, when I recognized the cover and I thought I should pick this up. But Nature Boy is not one of my favorite songs. I know it's an important song. So many people have done it. But I find it generally puts me in too down of a mood. I don't know. It's too blue. And I mean, the album's called Blue Moods. But I figured, let me grab this anyway. Mingus playing bass on it really put me over the edge. But I love this version of Nature Boy. It's a beautiful version of Nature Boy. I think this must be my favorite version now. I still need to put some more time into side 2, but this sounds beautiful. It's got a really nice reproduction label. OJC just does such a great job reproducing the old debut label. Sorry, that's out of focus there. Yeah, you know, I've been looking for OJCs more lately, and now of course that I want them actively, they're a little harder to find. So happy to pick that up. Also picked this up. Snagged this out of the blues section. Roy Bookbinder and Fats Kaplan. Get Fiddle music. No, Get Fiddle Shuffle. Excuse me. This is a Blue Goose release. If you've been following for a while, you know I collect Yazoo and Blue Goose. So this was, pick this up to satisfy my completist streak here. Yeah, just really happy to get it. And haven't had any time to play it, but happy to have it. Some good songs are covering on here. I got mine. He's in the jailhouse now. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I guess sticking with the obscure old folk stuff. It's interesting to me. We've done this. I think this is our third time doing this, and I'm starting to find enough of the same type of stuff at each of the stores. I always seem to have a really, really good luck with UK and Irish folk at Freak Beat, and I found this Martin Carthy with Dave Swarbrick, excuse me, on Topic Records. I think this is a reissue, but you don't see Topic Records very often at all. And Martin Carthy was on my list of people I needed to pick up and check out, and I was happy to have it. I noticed that the Trees They Do Grow High is on here, which is a great haunting old folk song about a woman who marries a young boy, and the Queen of Hearts, which some of you may know from Offer Rex, the Decemberists, and Olivia Cheney's album from a couple years ago. It's a fantastic record. There's just, this is just a fantastic UK folk record. Martin Carthy's got a beautiful voice. He's a beautiful guitar player, great arranger of songs, and somebody, to be honest, who I knew his name much better than I knew his music. So I'm really happy to finally have someone to be able to get to know him better. This one again was really, I'm really excited to find. And excuse me if I mispronounce, but Buntus Rince. Basic rhythms in Irish dance music, May Keogh and Tommy Delaney. This is out on Gail Lynn. And, it does what it says on the tin. It's a record of basic, simple rhythms and simple music. I guess meant for Irish dance. There's some Irish music that is fiery and alive and really intense, and this is not that. This is really, really subdued, but really pretty and beautifully played. I think to call it background music might be a little unfair, but it's very pleasant. It's a really nice record to put on and just sit around and just kind of maybe read or do something else. But yeah, I bought this because it was on Gail Lynn, and I see Gail Lynn releases so infrequently, but I was very happy with the quality of the music. It's not going to set anybody's world on fire, but if you know that you like Irish music, there's something really serene and calming about this record for me. All right, then we have a couple. Few things here that were kind of Andrew recommendations, which is, I'd say one of the best parts of getting to dig with Andrew is you have access to Andrew's immense knowledge of records. The kind of stuff that I would look up at and not know what I was looking at, or not see anything, or not understand why the price was so high. He knows what it is. He's been looking for it for years. He can tell me story that goes on behind it. It's really exciting and really fun. Um, and sometimes, occasionally, he'll just hand me something. That was the case with this, The Cave Singers. This is out on Jaguar, or Jaguar. I don't know, from 2011. Um, Andrew said that the lead singer of this band used to be in a punk band. Uh, and it's funny, if he hadn't told me that, I don't know that I would have picked it up. But there's definitely there's really, really interesting music here. It's kind of somewhere between freak folk, indie, and alternative, and it's just got a really unique sound, but a great kind of mellow folk instrumentation, kind of bent. But the way that he plays with harmony and arrangement is kind of complicated and interesting, and kind of bounces around your ears. And yeah, I have to spend some more time with this, but it was really neat, really cool. And thank you, Andrew, for the recommendation. I'm really psyched to dig into this even more. Another one that Andrew was just like pointed my way, which I maybe should have known, but I didn't know. This is Johnny Adams, Heart and Soul. This is a Record Store Day reissue, pressed at Palace, put up by ORG, I think. ORG Music. I guess that's somewhat different. But anyway, Johnny Adams, he has a track on the first Light in the Attic Country Funk compilation called Georgia Morning Dew, which is also on here. This is just, I mean, if you like the country funk compilation, this is for you. It's that beautiful blend of country, funk, blues, and soul. Reminds me of another album that Andrew recommended to me once, called Johnny Jenkins' Ton Toot Macoot. Probably mispronouncing that name. But anyway, this is just great. This is great. This is fantastic. And there were a few copies not only at Freakbeat, but at Amoeba. So it must not be selling very well. So get out there and find yourself a copy. This one had already been discounted slightly. This is awesome. Anybody who likes coal mine releases would like what's on here. Yeah, this is just great. This is great. I can't speak highly enough of this. And this is really, really cool. Been looking for this for a long time, since Andrew really kind of first tipped not just me, but the whole VC off to it. And then I had to watch it become kind of a VC new classic while I could never find one. And then to be digging with Andrew and have him actually find it and hand it to me was pretty great. So this is Mongrel by the Bob Seger System. I get it now. I get why Andrew is so into this early Seger, and why these records are so rare. And it's just great. It's just fantastic blues rock. Heavy, fuzzy, soulful. Yeah, his voice is in top form. Super emotive. Yeah, it's just great. It's awesome. I'm gonna have to track down the other ones, and some of them are even more expensive, but that's okay. I got a good deal on this too, I think. It's not an original pressing, so I was happy to find a pretty good price on it. Yeah. Again, it was so great to find this with Andrew. This is a record that I just completely associate with him, that as far as I'm concerned, he introduced to the VC, and he's probably single-handedly moved the needle on prices for these Seger System records. But yeah, great stuff. And I believe, no, here's my second to last Freakbeat find from the singles section. Lubricated Goat, Meeting My Head, backed with 20th Century Rake. And this has got, for you comic fans, this has got Charles Burns artwork on it. Charles Burns is one of my favorite comic artists. If you like comics and you haven't read Black Hole, it is essential reading as far as I'm concerned. Charles Burns just has this incredibly meticulous, perfect, basically, inking style. Every image is just dialed in so perfectly. And he's got a dark, creepy, horrific sense of humor. Yeah, so I bought this because it was a Charles Burns illustration. But it's great. It's on Sub Pop from 90, I want to say, or 91. It's like 89, 90. It's punk, proto grunge. It's awesome. It's hard and heavy. It matches kind of what you might think would be on here with the image, but yeah, just soup to find this. There are Crumb covers, there are Daniel Clowes covers, and those, Crumb covers are easy-ish to find in the world of comic artists. Clowes covers are harder to find, and Charles Burns artwork I never see, and a lot of it's very expensive, so I was happy to find that. And then here's the last thing I grabbed from Freak Beat. This is Arthur Big Boy Crudup, Look on Yonder's Wall, Hand Me Down My Walking Cane, on Delmark, Delmark DS614. Yeah, blues on Delmark. I think this might not be an original pressing, but it's an early pressing. It's Delmark blues. It's Chicago blues. It's just what you're hoping for. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's certain labels that everything about it, the music, the presentation, the pressing, the audio quality, everything is so high that I actually start to wonder or think to myself, maybe I need to go complete on this label's output. And Delmark is quickly becoming one of those labels, even though that may be totally unrealistic. I just have never picked up anything on Delmark that I wasn't absolutely thrilled with. So, yeah, very happy to find this. The Roots of Jazz series doesn't pop up very often. So, really always a treat when it does. There's that early Delmark label. So, yeah. Arthur Big Boy Crudup. I only had one other of his records, so I was very happy to get that. All right, so now we've come backwards in time to Atomic, where we started our dig, but where both of us had such huge piles that we had to make some hard decisions and put a lot of stuff back, or we wouldn't have any budget to go to the other two stores. And just found fantastic record after fantastic record. I'll keep it with the blues here, since we're already talking about the blues. I've been very lucky lately. One of the guys that works at Atomic has really deep knowledge of the blues. Him and I have started talking about it. So anytime I come in, he'll come over and be like, "Oh, there's some good stuff in the blues section," and he'll pull out the stuff that he thinks is worth my attention. And these have actually been in there for a while, but he came by and he said, these compilations are great. Everything out on these Legendary Masters series. Who are these put out by? Imperial? Yes, out on Imperial. So they're all just great stuff. Papa Lightfoot, Boogie Bill Webb, J.D. Edwards, Lowell Folsom, Roosevelt Sykes, Manny Nichols, Country Jim, Little Son Jackson. Only familiar with a few of them, to be honest, but at this point, I have not been steered wrong once by Alan, this guy at Atomic. So anytime he tells me a blues record is worth my time. And another nice thing is he usually watches out for my wallet. He doesn't pull some crazy rarity off the wall. He goes into the bins, he finds me a bargain and lets me know I should be looking for it. And he said this is this gospel compilation in the same series he's actually never seen. It's got the Soul Stirrers, the same Soul Stirrers that Sam Cooke performed with, though Sam Cooke is not performing on this record. So some classics, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, My Eyes on the Sparrow, My Life is in His Hands. It's great. Imperial and Liberty must be connected. No? That is exactly, that looks almost exactly like the Liberty label. But regardless, happy to have it. And the cool thing about this series that they've got these collage covers full of old blues advertisements, which is great because honestly, old blues advertisements are rare as hen's teeth. You just couldn't find them if you wanted even just to look at them online. So cool to have that stuff. And this was the first blues record that he said, look, something's out there and you need to grab it. This is Swamp Blues compilation on Excello. Alan was saying that a lot of this stuff is not available or incredibly rare outside of this compilation. It's got Silas Hogan, Whispering Smith, Clarence Edwards, Henry Gray, Arthur Guitar Kelly. I only have one other release on Excello. It's a Slim Harpo record, Tip On In. And I've been looking for more Excello, trying to maybe grab some singles or something, but it's all very rare. But this is fantastic. This is great. One of the other collectors who was there at Atomic, who's always there at Atomic, when he saw me checking out, he was like, oh, that's a great compilation. I have a copy of that. You're really going to enjoy that. And he was right, and Alan was right, and I'm really happy to get it. This is a weird detail. There's all these great shots of people wearing those old Sennheiser headphones, too. Just, I don't know. Just great stuff, everything about it. Again, that's the joy of records. It's of course it's about the music, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't about fetishizing these objects a little bit. If it wasn't about, objectifying literally the music. And so it's fun when the objects are so rich and juicy and enticing. Here's another long time want list. Doesn't really pop up too much from my area. Not a rare record, but Tammy Wynette, Stand By Your Man. Sometimes you decide you want something, you add it to the want list, and you just don't see it then for a long time. It pops up on Discogs all the time, but maybe if her price is a little higher than I want to pay. It's got a promo stamp on it, although it's a stock label on Epic. Classic record. Tammy Wynette, Stand By Your Man. This one sounds great, plays great. It's in good condition. Happy to have it. Enjoyed spinning it. This one was another like that, high on the want list. Had been looking for it for a long time, but I don't see it very often, and when I do, it's expensive. And this was so cheap that I was scared. This was $3. Hold On, I'm Coming with Sam and Dave on Stax. For $3, that's because it's beat. And there are scratches all over, but none of them were feelable scratches. So I thought, Stax, certain labels, Stax being one of them, you've got a good shot of having a great record, even though it's scratched up, sound-wise. And so I was hoping that would be the case, and I brought it home and I played it, and it sounds great. There's some noise, but nothing offensive. Sounds great. Really happy to have this. Classic Stax release. Not an easy one to find. Last time I saw it. So, yeah. Super happy to find this. All right. Trying to get down to the end. I think my phone just told me I've reached max file size, so I don't know what that means, but here we go. If I Could Only Remember My Name by David Crosby. Kind of a VC classic. That's where I heard about this record. Incredible lineup on this record. Joni Mitchell, members of the Grateful Dead, David Geffen, all kinds of people. David Crosby, solo album, kind of tripped out, almost freak folk before there was freak folk. I know it was an important record for the early 2000s freak folk movement, Avenger Banhart and all them. There's some beautiful layered harmonies on here, loose song structure. It's a great record. I wasn't sure whether I wanted it, and then I showed it to Andrew, and he was like, "Oh, that's a good record. You need to pick that up." And I'm glad that he steered me that way. And I got a great price on it, too. So, really, really happy to have this. Another... I was so shocked to see, really. It had just hit the bins. Yoko Ono's Approximately into Infinite Universe on Apple Records. This is a UK pressing, actually. And the price on this was phenomenal. I'd been watching this for a while online, and they go for 40 and 60 regularly. And this was like $15, so I snagged it. Yeah, it's great. Yoko Ono, I think, making a feminist record. Musically, it's kind of more straight ahead than a lot of her more avant-garde stuff. I think I'd become aware of this through VC videos. I want to say Fred, Big Star 1000. Thank you for the recommendation, and thanks to the guys at Atomic for having it. Really stoked to have this. I find, I guess she was just so divisive as a figure that I have a really hard time finding Yoko Ono stuff, and always really happy when I do. All right, last two, and they are, for me, doozies. And somehow this one was still very, very cheap. This is The Bird in the Bush, traditional erotic songs. A.L. Lloyd, Ann Briggs, and Frankie Armstrong. So Ann Briggs is what I was most excited about. Ann Briggs is a British folkie who released, I think, 2 proper records on Topic. And that was about it. And those 2 records go for over $400 regularly. So I will never own anything other than the one reissue I have, and hopefully I'll be able to get a reissue of the other. But when I'm searching for those records, this is the only other thing that ever comes up. And prices on it swing wildly. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 Ann Briggs tracks on here, which is more than enough for me. And the other music on here is great as well. It's traditional UK folk, as I said. They're not bawdy songs, they're not raunchy songs, but they are sexual songs. The kinds of distinctions you'll find in English folk records. But yeah, I never thought I'd find an Ann Briggs record in the wild. This was probably the only one I ever will find, but all the same, I was blown away, over the moon to find this. Hard to surpass, except that something did, of course. So the day before Andrew and I were set to meet up, Atomic posted a picture on Instagram that they had just replenished their wall. And I tagged Andrew on Instagram, and I tagged Andrew in the picture, and I said, good for us. And then afterwards, some time went by, and I was like, you know what, let me check and see. There's this James Carr record that had been on the wall. It's too expensive. It's a good price, I guess, but it's too expensive for me. But I love James Carr, the soul singer, and I'd been considering maybe I would buy it. So I thought, let me zoom in on this picture and see if it's still there. And as I was zooming in, I saw this record sitting on the wall. Shirley Collins, False True Lovers, on Folkways from 1959. This is, there are literally pieces of paper here in my house that have my top 10 want list on them, and this record is on there. I drew a comic once in one of my sketchbooks about a guy finding this record. It's just one of those. I mean, it's a grail, Maybe it's not the holy grail, but this is absolutely a grail for me. Shirley Collins, like Anne Briggs, incredibly rare UK folk, and I freaked out. I was having heart palpitations, So I called the guys over there at Atomic, and I asked them if this was still available. They said yes. I said, would you be able to hold it for me? They said yes, and then I said, I'll be in tomorrow, and then they said, oh, we can't do that. And then I kind of panicked, and I was like, no, it's Danny. We talk about the blues all the time. And they were like, oh, okay. And then they finally recognized me, and they said, okay, we'll hold it for you for tomorrow, Danny. And I got in there, and they let me inspect it and check it out. And, there's a little seam split here, and, some bumps here and there on the edges, but some fading maybe to the cover. But by and large, for a record that's almost, geez, how old is it now? Is it almost 60 years old now? It's a 60-year-old record, yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal. It comes with the original booklet, with liner notes written by Alan Lomax, who I guess would have been dating her at this time. In perfect, pristine condition. It had been, the owner of the store was telling me that he has had it for decades, and he kind of lost it in the store, and he was looking for it forever, and eventually found it in one of the boxes. The disc is in perfect condition. Looks like it was rarely played. Yeah. So I bought it. It was expensive, but for what it is and for what it goes for, it was a great price. So I was over the moon, to say the least, to have that. Yeah, and that's it. That was my haul. That was my insane haul from one of my mega digs with Andrew. As I said, it's always a pleasure to get together with Andrew. It's a real treat as a record collector, as a friend, as a person. Couldn't ask for more. Really, really enjoyed myself. Already looking forward to the next time we do it. Really happy that it's become a tradition. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I pulled out. I'm looking forward to what Andrew got, because at this point, honestly, we buy so many records. I don't even know everything he grabbed. I'm sure there are some surprises for him in there of what I grabbed. And yeah, hopefully VC, I'll be back soon with some other videos. I know I've got some other ones I want to make, but life gets in the way. And hope you enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.